Good morning and welcome. I am Jeff Kiesler. I'm Senior Program Assistant for AARP Michigan, and I'm going to be filling in for Jennifer Firestein this morning. We're glad that you're joining us for AARP's virtual Learn a Latte. Learn a Latte is our Wednesday morning speaker series where we invite you to sit back with your coffee, tea, or latte and learn something new. Over the next half hour, our guest speaker, Mary Hartfield, will share tips and tricks to preserve your vinyl record collection. If you have questions or comments, ask them in the comment section and we will answer them throughout the presentation. It's the benefit of watching live. You get to ask the expert your question. This event is being recorded and you'll be able to access it here on AARP Michigan's Facebook page. That way you can watch it again or share it with others. Joining me today is Mary Hartfield. Mary has been collecting records for over 50 years. She was always excited Christmas Day when she got another Jackson 5 album. Her husband was a musician and he also collected albums. So they learned how to take care of their collection in order for them to last longer. And she became very proficient in learning how to care for vinyl records. One of her greatest joys is being in a record shop and looking through album covers and adding an album to her collection. Mary is principal of MCH Consultants Group, and she's a volunteer for AARP Michigan as a lead trainer and cultural development facilitator. Mary, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Jeff.
Well, I'm going to kind of turn things over to you and let you get started.
Okay.
And really excited to learn about how to preserve vinyl record collection.
All right. Good morning, everyone. How are you? I'm really excited. I really love records, and really during the pandemic, I probably spent a lot of money on albums and buying them because I wanted to hear some sound, so I wouldn't just be no noise in the room. So records are always my love and I can fall back to. So when you talk about preserving your vinyl records, the first thing, when you get the first picture here, you'll see this is actually, you can see behind me in the corner here, I have a black one. This is a record player that I have. I just bought it recently. I still have two of our old ones that we bought years, probably about 25, 30 years ago or longer than that. So I still have that. My mom still have one of our original record players. So we preserve those too, the record players. Those are kind of nice. But what's nice about this one, I got this for only $45, I think, around a holiday time at Walmart's. So they're not very expensive. You can buy them. If you have the old ones, you can still find the needles and everything for them. But it's a great record player. And what's nice about it, when I travel south a lot, because all my kids are down south, I carry my record player with me and a couple of albums or whatever. So Perfect. That's kind of nice.
Perfect. All right.
So next here, how to handle your records properly. And this is so very important because the outer edge is what you always want to touch. You notice on the left-hand side, you see someone touching the actual record. You never want to do that because your hands, oils and all that can add to the groove and affect the dust and build a mold in it. And I have seen that happen before. I had a couple ones that, I don't know, me or some of the kids may have done. But one of the things is to really take care of them. You always want to have them in the sleeve, and I'll talk about that. So let's say, for instance, that you don't have the album cover or anything anymore. So what I did, I just took some butcher paper and I kind of stapled it around and I put the album in it. This is, I'm going to take it out using the paper label. I just put my finger at the bottom of it here and take it out so I'm not touching. And then this is the actual Ethel Waters label, Shake That Thing, if anyone remembers that. This album is, and I'm going to take it right here by the cover. You kind of drop it in like that. Notice where I'm holding it on the edges of it. It's quite an old album. It's from Columbia.
Okay.
Yeah. And then make sure, like I said, wash your hands before you start working with your albums. And then you should also, the grooves, like I said, really can build up if you touch them. So don't touch the grooves on there.
Now, Mary, that's very interesting. So, if someone were to kind of have a spot on their record where they had touched it with some greasy hands or dirty hands or something, could you, when you play that album in the future, would you be able to notice a difference in that spot? Would you hear some bad sound or something from that?
Yeah, you'll see there's sometimes interruption, but the one thing is there's cleaning solutions and brushes that I'm going to talk about a little bit later, how to really
Okay.
care for it when you store your album. Because, yeah, I've had it before, and we used to take alcohol and just kind of rub it around in a circle always. You never go against, the grain kind of, but in a circle. But now they actually have solutions. And also, before you put your albums away, and I'll talk about that, is you kind of use a brush to help that.
Okay. Well, let's move on to the next slide and see what else we have.
Yeah. So, as I said, so this is a best record for record storage. Practice, please. Clean your records, be putting them in their jackets, and I'll show you some of the tools that you can use to make sure. And always store records in an album jacket. As I said, the Ethel Waters, don't found this as an addict by yourself. So I just kind of took some butcher paper, staple, and then slide it right here in the top. So you can do that, but always, or right now is really easy to order plastic sleeves. So for instance, here is Michael Jackson, and it's in a plastic sleeve.
Okay.
So you can order those plastic sleeves, and now a lot of them will come with plastic sleeves because that's one of the newest one, is not the old ones.
And that's going to help keep the jacket from scratching or the print rubbing off or the color rubbing off.
Yep,
Okay.
dust and everything. And then one note, you look at both of these pictures, a lot of people you see on the right-hand side, people want to stack their albums. You don't want to do that. You want to put them in an upright position. The reason for that is because as they stack on each other, it's putting pressure and they can warp. So you want to make sure you don't stack them up, but you put them in sideways.
Okay.
On there, store them, upright position.
Yep. And I noticed, I think on that first image that you had with the record player, there was like an accordion record holder. So they're being stored upright and kind of separate from each other. They're not on top of each other and smushing each other. So
right. And I'm going to actually show a picture next. If you want to go show a picture next, we show how different storage. So here,
perfect.
Right. Yeah. So here's the ones you can put them up on your wall. My son likes to display his up on the wall. So you actually can order record displays to put them up on the wall, and goes into the wall in the first one. And then you can see here is in the credenza, that they're in a credenza and they're laid. And notice how they're kind of separated a little bit, where you don't keep them all straight, but kind of in the middle, kind of make them divide over a little bit. And then like you're saying here, here's a rack that you can buy, and just like they're laying and they're separated, where you're not having so many pressure on each other. And then I have the one on the far right, like you said, it actually has separate. I actually have that stand that I can separate them. Mine's a little bit older, so it doesn't have that shelf in there, but I can separate it. It actually have separators built into the metal of the stand.
Very nice. Okay. And I love the displaying the albums on the wall idea. That's really cool. So they become art or a painting or a picture or something. So that's
right, art form. And I mean, if on the next slide, you'll see here's some other ways that you can store your record, which you can take that storage box you can order and hang it up on the wall, so it's off the ground for you. And you see also here in the lower, you see where there's a different way of racks. Now this is further, you store more than 3 or 4 or 5 on the wall. To display, because you can kind of switch it around whatever mood you are to up display. And then there again is storage for it. And then there's where they actually took some records out. So they actually have the records out in front of it. And that's really for display. So a lot of times those individuals are not playing those records necessarily because it's out, is collecting dust, or if they play them, you then have to clean them a little bit.
And they may be some rare albums or worth more money that they're not trying to play them every day or use them up, I guess, if you will. But we have a question from Donna, and I'm just going to go ahead and post it right up here. So the question is, I have many 45s that are in a holder where they are stacked. Since they are smaller than an LP, should there be any problem?
They still recommend that your 45s are put sideways. You
Okay.
know, I know that I have a big round one that has a stack of the 45s. You know, I think we also did CDs like that, but they recommend, you notice sometimes if you take one out in the way you move it or twist it, it can actually scratch the lower Rucker that is on it. So those also should be in a sideways storage. I now put them in a storage bin, and that they're sideways. And I have a storage bin large enough where I can do 2 rows of the 45s.
Okay.
But they are not where they are stacked on top of each other, but they're kind of upright position.
Perfect. And usually those don't come with like album sleeves or album covers.
No, they don't. Yeah, they come with the white ones sometime.
Yep.
You know, they come with those. So, you know, we used to throw them out and just throw the record and stack them. So now you really, if they come with the white sleeves, I'm trying to think at the record store, did I see them with a white sleeve on them? That I would keep the white sleeve and keep them also covered and stored in the proper way.
Sure. Okay. And then LG Mason has a question. Where can I buy this plastic sleeves for LPs?
Amazon. I found out was the best price, had the best price for it. But you also, if you go to Walmart has a lot of supplies for LPs.
Right.
For how you display them. They have the record player. They have some storage tools. They have the cleaning material. So Walmart does have a lot of things, but Amazon I found have the great prices also on them.
Great. And it's maybe, I'm sure it's not a surprise to anybody tuning in probably today, but you know, I think a lot of people may think of records as, you know, sort of a old technology that doesn't really exist anymore. But I mean, you know, people are still making records currently. I happened to be in Detroit on Monday, and I went to a Jack White of the White Stripes. He owns a record store there called Third Man Records, and they were pressing. They have a list of the different albums they're working on that day. They were working on a Paul McCartney one and a Beatles one and a Bob Dylan, like a box set of 4 different albums. So yeah, this technology continues to evolve, and so yeah, I'm really excited that
records are coming back, you know, especially during the pandemic. People were at home and they're getting back into their records. They're buying record players, and you notice out the bookstores, they have a lot of brand new records. I think the one I showed you got Prince, Marvin Gaye, I got from Target during Black History Month. So they're bringing albums back. So they're popular. And if you go to the record store, it's always full of people.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah.
We're shuffling through the records, which is really fun. And what's nice is you go to Vertigo Music, which is on Division, they have dollar albums. So you can sort through, they have tons of them, and you sort through them, you can find old albums. But think about, I got a Neil Diamond for $1.
No way. Yeah. Okay.
$1. So it was great.
Well, and it's interesting too. I mean, you know, I enjoy music on my phone, you know, being able to take it anywhere with me, but there's something about, you know, holding the album in your hand and the artwork and the, you know, the sound that comes out of the record player is different. So yeah, we can move on. So we hit storage, and then while I'm moving on, Linda is asking, what storage do I use for Victrola records?
Oh, Victrola, the large, are they really, really large?
Must be like the 78 size or whatever it is.
I mean, usually, and I think I have one, the racks usually fit it. You know, the racks I have, that there's enough room that it fits on top. You know, you have to check it. What I would do is like go to Walmart and see what the size is, you know, and then also there's those storage boxes or crate boxes. Also, some of them come in a larger size, and you keep them in those.
Okay. Great advice. All right.
And then if you don't have so many, that would be great to kind of display for when people come in and they'll see it. They're like, what? And that's a conversation piece. So think about that.
Sure. Great ideas. Okay. All right. We can move on to cleaning. How to properly clean
vinyl records. First of all, you want to remove the dust and stab with a Rucker brush. And on the next slide, I'll show you the Rucker brush. But those are, before I put my records away, I always brush them, right along with the groove. That means any dust or anything that got in the groove is coming off of there. And also, you always want to inspect for visual blemishes. Okay, if you see any blemishes, that's the time that you should go through and use a spray cleaning solution on the problem areas. As I said, in the olden days, we just take out some alcohol, but now they actually have a cleaning solution for you that you can buy. And then always using a circular motion, always, all the time. Don't go against the circular motion, go across it. Like I think my grandson, Grandma, I'm going to help you, grabbed it. And I was like, wait, no, don't do that. So you always want to go in that circular motion. And then also, once again, make sure you're storing it properly. Put it back into that sleeve. Make sure you're not touching it. Make sure you're washing your hand. And that's going to help save. We have albums, like you said, I have this Ethel Waters, and it has no blemishes, no messed up. And it's been years that I've had it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. All right, and then you mentioned the brush on the next slide, so we can take a look at that.
Yeah, if you look on the right-hand side, there's all kind of different brushes that you can use. So that is a Rucker brush you can buy. You see it here, used on a 45. And what's nice about those little, you can still buy, I think at Barnes & Noble's, that little chip that goes in the middle. I just bought a whole set of them in different colors. So people are selling everything to go with vinyl records because it's back in. So use the brush, clean it, and then hold it the right way and put it right back in the sleeve. And then also on the left-hand side, that is kind of in the middle, is a 4-in-1 cleaning solution. And that really includes a velvet record brushes in there, a cleaning liquid, a styles brush, and a travel pouch. You can take it pouch where you can take it with you. And that you get from Big Fudge record system on Amazon. So that's a nice one. And then the last one is a record wash system where you actually do a record bath. And you kind of roll it through the bath to get it clean. And then later on, it includes cloths, white cloths with the kit, and you lay them on that, and then you kind of wipe in that circular motion and get it clean and dry it off afterwards. So you can any of those, and all of those are low cost, don't cost much at all.
Okay, great tips and tools. I like Big Fudge. That's a great name and easy to remember. Margaret had a question about. So let's say that we do get some scratches or some oil or some bending or something. Is there any way to bring that record back to its prime condition, or are we sort of just out in the dark on that one?
Now, if warp is a little bit different, so it's hard to correct the warp or whatever. But usually, most of the time, when I do the whole cleaning bath or cleaning solution, it takes care of that. Because usually, a lot of times, it's dust that built in as mold kind of in there, so it's in the groove. So usually, when I do that or brush it, it takes care of that.
Okay, perfect. All right, and we had a lot of various questions about that. So. Hopefully we're getting those answered for everybody. All right, let's move on to next slide.
So I want to tell you about also how you can, one thing about your collection, when it gets large, you want to have a place where you can store all information about what albums you do have. So Discogs is a place.com. They also have an app. I use the app because with the app, you can actually scan. If you buy a new album, scan it in and they'll pull it up. You can just add it to your collection rather than trying to type in, it takes a while, but you can go online and they have a marketplace for buying and selling your vinyl records and CDs on there. And notice it says CDs too, so you can sell your CDs because we're always wondering what should we do with our old CDs. And then also their website holds the largest amount of records information. every album that's released in every format. It has that information on there. So you can do a track listing of album, information on the year, the release or re-release, and price information on every album out there. So when I put in an album, I think the other day, I had one album that was $24. And then I didn't buy, I think I bought it for $2. But it's $24. So if you want to sell, you can do that. And also what's nice, you can catalog and manage your vinyl on there. And I like that. I'm one of these people that love to catalog things. So you can catalog, my albums are on there, and you can search millions of artists like they say. It is really simple to scan in, like I said, the barcode if you have it. And you can find out what your record's worth, keep track of it. So this is really a nice site to use. It's the most popular one. And also what's nice about it, they do have an app. I use the app a lot.
Okay. So you just scan it with your phone and the information pops up there.
Yep. So I have the Prince album. This is new that they just released. And right here, I had to have it. I was at Barnes and Nobles. And right here, you don't scan that, but right here on the album, oops, does this one have it? No, let me use this other one here. Right here on the bottom of the album, you just scan this. And then it pulled up Michael Jackson Thriller.
No kidding.
Yep. And the new ones come with that. So just like, even though like the Prince one here, it came with a label, you can check that, but a lot of times that don't pull up. It's actually a label that's on the album.
Okay.
Cover, if they have a cover, that'll pull up.
We have a bunch of questions. If I can kind of run through them real quick. Okay. Ram wants to know if the plastic sleeves are anti-static. Do they have a static cling to them or anything like that you're aware of?
No, I mean, I haven't had any problem with it. Like this one too. This is actually the plastic that they use. This is recently released again, and it has the plastic in it. One thing about the plastic though, notice the one, I'm going to replace this with the one I can order, because notice right here how, the wrinkle and everything, it wrinkles on there. So I don't have this cover in it. Some of the new ones, but that's a good question. I'm sorry. I can put that in when she releases the recording. I'll put the answer in that comment later on about that.
Okay.
Once the recording on that. But yeah, this is a limited edition release. But like I said, it's kind of wrinkled and everything. So you have to be careful because it doesn't stand up properly like some of the albums do.
Yeah. All right. And then, so we talked about scratches. The best way to repair those is to do the album bath.
Yeah. Do that using the brush and everything.
Yep. Okay.
And
sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. You see in the album brush that they actually things that you put in the bath and they'll help when it slides through it.
Perfect. Okay. And I'm sure there's videos on YouTube that you can pull up and see how watch it happen before you try to.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think in the old day how we used to get rid of scratches, but I don't want to give anyone any misinformation. So that also I will add to the comments.
Okay, perfect. And then Eric's question is, where can you buy replacement needles for older turntables?
You can buy them online. You can check with some of the Rucker stores. If you're located in the Grand Rapids area, we have Vertigo Music, which is on Division. We also have Dod's Record Shop, which is on Bridge Street. That's one of the oldest record shops around. And then also the Corner Record Shop which is on Chicago Drive in Granville. So you can check some of the record shops, but also you can go to Amazon and places. What I usually like to do is I Google what I want, and then it'll tell me where I can get it at.
Yeah, good.
That's the best way, because it also show the pictures and everything else.
Okay, great question, Eric. And then Margaret had a question about storage again. Going back to that I think is a very good question. So she is asking that the temperature wasn't mentioned regarding storage. Is the attic okay? It gets hot and it also gets cold.
I have mines in the attic and I haven't any problem with them at all. So it all depends. You don't want it too hot, of course, safe. So I kind of have it. My attic is It's a little warm, but not too warm.
Mm-hmm.
So just as kind of cool, probably better in the basement if you have a nice area, but you don't want it where you're storing like you store all your other stuff.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure it's where they're also keeping the integrity of the album and everything, and that is in a cooler. You don't want it too hot.
Okay. Perfect.
A lot of times, like some people were like, "Oh, I'm putting in my garage or whatever." Well, it depends if you have a garage that has a temperature.
Right.
There, because if it gets too hot, we're getting a lot here in Michigan. We're getting really hot a lot of times. You don't want any of that warping or anything to happen.
Absolutely. Yeah, that would be awful. Okay. Um, and then the Discogs app or website you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
So if an album doesn't have a barcode, you would just enter that in. You just type in the information manually.
Yes, Ethel Waters. I put in the name of the song, and actually I put in the name of the song, and it came up with Ethel Waters. And then what happened? I had to go stroll through because I have an older one. I had to go through and see which one, because this is one that only has one song on each side. Remember those days?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it has only two different songs. It doesn't have a lot of songs on one side. So this is a two-sided album.
Wow. And is that your favorite in your collect? Do you have a favorite, all-time favorite in your collection?
You know, I'm a Michael Jackson and Prince. Purple Rain is really my all-time favorite album.
Great.
Purple Rain, where I actually found a replacement, so I don't use the original one that was released. So that's another tip too. Go to the record store and you say, "Oh, I already have that album." But if it's one that's your favorite, you don't want to play that all the time. So I get the dollar one. Well, Prince you can't even find in the record stores any longer.
Right.
At all. But I use I get a replacement one, and I don't use my original one.
Perfect.
A lot of times.
Okay. All right. And then let's go ahead and move on to the next slide.
Okay, so this is really some additional apps that talking about. These are other apps that are out there that you can use for your vinyl collection. Disco FM, Vinyl Wall. Vinyl Wall is, I think, is only available on Android.
Okay.
Vinyl Wall, Music Buddy, Music Manager, and Libit. So these are ones that are great to use. Sometimes these are apps. And once again, put in your information. If you have an iPad, download it on there. That way you can type in if you have a keyboard.
Okay.
Just type it in. But they're really nice apps that you can use. They keep great information, do the same thing. It's just that Discogs, theirs is where Discogs is where they have it online and they have an app and they have a huge collection. You can find anything, but these are other great apps that you can use.
Perfect. All right. Thank you. And I think that is it. So, if anybody has any questions for Mary, now is the time to go ahead and ask those for last minute. And one question is, if a 60-year-old album has never been cleaned, is it too late now?
If it's I guess the whole thing about it is that if it's in, like, for instance, this Ethel Waters, you can still clean it. But, also if it hasn't been out, why take it out now? Because something could happen to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just if it's in its original cover and everything, just leave it in its original cover.
Okay.
Don't touch it at all. But then if you want to use it and start playing it, then you're going to make sure when you take it out, put it on. If it needs cleaning, just take the cleaning brush and use it. And also the formula that you can spray on it for record keeping.
Okay.
Some of these ones that, like this Ethel Waters, it's really old.
Yeah.
So I don't play it at all. That's where I go. This is from, I'm trying to see if I can see the year on it. I can't remember the year on it. It's really tiny on here, but I go and play it on my Apple Music. If I want to listen to it, I don't even play the album at all because it's so old. I don't want anything to happen to it.
Yeah. So it sounds like, if I hear what you're saying, right, if you have a 60-year-old album that you haven't taken out of the sleeve in 15 years, maybe it's not worth taking it out to clean it even, because the potential for something to go wrong could be there.
Yeah, so if you want to play it, yeah, you can take it out and clean it and everything, and then make sure you're brushing it when you put it back if you want to actually play it. You know, I'm always worried about the damage of it, you know, depending on who's in the house or whatever, and then someone can accidentally scratch. Also, you want to make sure when you use your album, make sure right here they have the side handle. Make sure you're using the side handle when you pick up and place it over. They also have an arm where you can place it over on the album. You want to make sure you do that. And they also say, you know how sometimes you say, oh, I want to just play this song. They said that you should not do that. Like over in the middle of the record.
Right.
Okay. Because sometimes it can do damage.
Well, you can hear, I remember the old days of hearing it, you know, when you drop it down.
Exactly.
That noise is probably not a good thing for your.
No, it's not a good thing. So they always say start from the beginning, use the handles. Don't try to place it and pick up this by itself, but use all the arms and everything that they have available for you. And then what's nice about this is they have the lock-in, and also they have the sleeve. So when you get done, make sure you put the sleeve back on the needle. Okay, so the needle doesn't get damaged at all or collect dust or anything. You want to make sure you do that too.
Great. Okay. And we have time for just a couple of more questions. Anna asked about the best way to sell her albums or her whole collection of albums.
Okay, so first of all, Discogs, you can go on there and see if it's a price. And what's nice about it on the apps, it tell you the latest that's sold and what the price was. Okay. You can also go to the record shops. They're always looking for albums, and especially if there's one that they're really looking for popular, just like Prince. You can't find Prince. If they come in, they go right back out the store at all. So you can go to record stores. I would just really, if you haven't experienced time at a record shop, is just great. It's amazing. You got to have time though, because you got to look through all the albums and everything like that. But it's really fun. But I as I said, I know that at Vertigo he buys albums, because I asked him, you know, he said, yep, they have to have them in the sleeve. They have to have the original cover and everything like that. So you can't, like, I can sell my Ethel Waters to them at all. It doesn't have the original sleeve. So you can check out, they can buy your whole collection. Also, you know, look at some of the sites that they say, hey, I have this and I want to sell it. So on Discogs, you can actually put, I want to sell. So you can actually sell on that website.
Great. Okay, so it sounds like there are a few different places that you can go to sell, and maybe even, I know you can sell things on Amazon and all the other eBay and other sources that people use. Okay. Yeah,
but I mean, the reason you're going to use Discogs, which is all about album, because these are people that really appreciate it, and then they're going to value the price, and plus the site is going to tell you what the price is.
Perfect. All right, and then one last question. We have a couple different people that are asking about the best way to digitize their album collection.
Okay, so on some of your record players that you get, it can help you do with the recording.
Okay.
Of it. So actually, there's wires you hook up in the back, and I can't remember. Yeah, this one right here in the back. See, it has a recording right there.
Yeah.
So I can turn around, put that in my computer, and record.
Okay, that's.
So a lot of them come with that, where you can actually record your albums and digitize them.
No kidding.
Right from there and hook up. So a lot of different ones do that for you. So you just have to check them out and say, I want to do recording. And when you Google it, it'll tell you which ones to get.
Okay, perfect. Well, Mary, lot of great information today, and I thank you so much for coming on and for sharing
Thank
your
you.
expertise and your passion with us.
Thank you.
And I just want to remind people that you'll be able to view today's event on our Facebook page or our YouTube page. So those are available. And I also want to mention that we all will have other events coming up, and you can see what those are at aarpmi.org/virtual events. And keep an eye out for other Learn a Latte events. We do one on the first and third Wednesday at 10 a.m., just like this one. So again, thank you so much for joining us. And it was fantastic information, and I think everybody really enjoyed it. So thank you.
Thank you.